Dylan Rieder, who I mention a lot, definitely feel closer to him in the afterlife for some weird reason, although I'm not surprised. Oh, man, every time I have started trying to film this video, this new deck for lingerie keeps falling over, so I'm gonna show some of it on video. I work extremely hard on, and there's an example, like there's partially Dylan. I'm in there as well. More than meets the eye going on. Yeah, so he was an iconic person and also just kind of a man after my own heart. So when I was living in Orange County at the start of my, art career and having flown back from New York City, that was right around the time that Dylan was really becoming, I don't know, I don't know like the exact timeline. Let's just say we moved in similar circles. People, he's from Westminster, but my connection with him was much more of a really low-key thing because it started to, as you can imagine, it started to be a lot of pressure from him on him, And personally, if you look at that Osiris Subject to Change video, which was his first video part, he never should have really shared a part with anyone. And he was literally like a 12-year-old kid. His rail skating is absolutely flawless and steezy. To this day, no one can match it. And I wanted to make this video because I relate to what happened to him. I know without a shadow of a doubt that, he was sabotaged because of the jealousy surrounding him, which is really tragic. I'm not going to get into the details on like how he died and everything. There's several sources on the net. Same thing with like what am I saying? Kurt Cobain. 100% Kurt Cobain was murdered. But it's just crazy to me because everybody associates in the skate world like Mark Oblo and who's it? I mean, he even says himself on video like. Look it up on YouTube. He was like, get this kid away from me. He was picked as a little boy model and basically Mark didn't want anything to do with him until sent him out on a photo shoot with this guy Ortiz who worked at Quicksilver at the time. So like he just came in as a, they got this little skater dude and Mark was totally over it. And I'm like, how could you meet 12-year-old Dylan and your first response is get away from me? Like, what kind of low-life, immature idiot are you? So anyway, he asked Ortiz later, and he goes, he was kind of gnarly, he like Smith grind this rail, and he kickflipped down these stairs, and he was like, what? Get the fuck, come on, get out of here. And then it, of course, not only ended up being true, and then he that takes balls of steel to be a 12-year-old kid. I don't care how confident or good looking you are. That's the thing that people need to understand, and that's one of the ways Dylan and I connected a lot. We were both very good looking. That's just the facts, like a model type. He was less shy about it than I've been in my life, but I'm so like painfully shy about it. He doesn't have any type of attitude. Like, if anything, he downplays it to make other people feel comfortable. And if you look at the, epically latered video, he had to prove himself. You can tell the bottom line is that he was surrounded by people who were so jealous of him. And there's another video, you can look it up. It was like, did this podcast predict Dylan's death like a year before it happened? It's just pretty sad how that has happened. And I think that idea of the 27 Club is really ridiculous. That shit's not funny. I mean, he never, doing severe medical treatments on anyone can really traumatize and hurt them. And I just don't believe at all that he died just because of whatever diagnosis he was given. And that's after literally watching and listening. I've listened to the Epically Latered segment and a lot of interviews with the people around him, like on Workshop, on the Alien team, that they absolutely, I mean, like I said, a lot of times you think it's your best friend who's got the knife in your back. Is he's saying how, like, he's just totally low key, you know, and everybody wanted him. Number one, like, he had some, like, just was over it with one of the anti-hero dudes on this Vans anti-hero trip. So he was like, whatever, told stranger I was over it, whatever. So he was just, you know, low key about it, but they had issues with him. And I know for a fact, like, knowing Dylan, you have to basically have no self-esteem and a total complex to have an issue with this dude. Like, that's something I've experienced a lot as well, is like this whole competition. Everything's a fucking competition. So of course, you know, in his life, supposedly Mark Oblaw is this like mentor, and I've been with the kid since he was however many years old. Look at a video, look at Mark Oblaw and that Epically Later video. Then look at a video of him today. He literally copies Dylan to right down to all the rings he's got on his fingers. I've been wearing rings, by the way, for many years, skinny rings. And Dylan was more into like super masculine rings. But you can just see, like, it's so obvious that Mark Oblow is literally like, he's the one who looked up to Dylan. And Dylan was just a kid, you know, when he came on. But he was absolutely a prodigy. And not only that, like, the style was amazing. So of course he got stereotyped as a rail kid because all he was really skating is rails. And I see myself in that because I'm like, I get stereotyped and people come up with all this bullshit and have an issue with me. It's just because of jealousy. And it literally, I mean, it basically practically took me till the afterlife to understand this shit, but it's so fucking true. And what's so sad is, I know for a fact that neither I nor Dylan achieved our good looks or the things we've worked for without an amazing amount of dedication. And he's real low-key, makes it look easy. I'm the same thing. I've had people try to, like, you know, and people don't think about how lonely in the modeling industry, like, over the years, it's similar in music, but a lot of the most attractive people to have ever exist who have that kind of angelic quality end up really struggling in relationships because people don't want, I don't know, whatever it is. So, but it is a full-time job, and anyone, you know, who dates me has, and I don't date. I mean, I have my own situation going on, not available at the moment, if you know what I mean. But basically what I'm saying is, Dylan's the type, and I'm this way as well, where instead of being, you know, intimidated, like, you can turn that normal feeling of jealousy or whatever into motivation. And so really you should be inspiring, like, or people should be inspired. Which brings me to, like, Dill. So Jason Dill is this legend in the skate community. And at the end of the day, you know, he's a real lowlife. And it sucks because the first time I saw that and I was listening, like, you know, Dylan saying he looked up to Dill and Ave and Heath, like, those were his 3 favorite skaters. And that's part of the why when Ave asked him to ride for Workshop, like, it was kind of a no-brainer choice because of the, you know, weird energy on the anti-hero team, you know, one person. And he didn't name names about it. But, yeah, so, like, they signed him on Workshop, and that's great. And I remember thinking, man, like, I didn't know Dill personally, but that's totally something I would do. Like, I would have friends. Dylan's the type where he has clearly a very high IQ, but he's so passionate about art and music and modeling and fashion and all those things that he, like, amazing choice that he made, and the gift that he had to not go to college and just go straight into skating. And that's how, like, he really left an impact. But in the world, as, you know, a former really hardcore athlete myself, a lot of times sports, and then from what I've observed of pro skateboarding in particular, dude, I feel like as Dylan is to skate culture, I am to the dark goth wave scene, because it's just like, what am I gonna sit there and watch a Nine Club podcast or whatever? Like, he didn't, he's famously flipping people off and stuff, but he means it in the sense that, like, he's trying to keep the soul alive, the whole situation. So anyway, he asked Mark, like, can you put me under Quicksilver? This is Mark Oblo, the photographer with a superiority complex. I mean, do you know how much balls it takes when you're like 12 years old in Orange County to ask, like, the head director, who has a huge chip on his shoulder, photographer for Quicksilver at the time, and like, and basically you're asking to be on the team, and can I ride for Quicksilver? He's like, yeah, no problem, go for it. And in his words, he goes, well then, and then he won the contest. I mean, to win the damn am. So yeah, he called. He's like, can I ride for Quicksilver, under Quicksilver on the damn am? He's like, yeah, go for it. Winning the damn am in Costa Mesa at the time, at that age, is just unbelievable. It's definitely superhuman. Like, just his style, it's just fucking incredible. And not only that, but the amount you have to work, because I've done this myself as a, you have to be in a model and a performer, and but it's about literally giving everything you have. And again, I'm not a self-appointed monk. I not only legitimately, I was initiated as a monk over 20 years ago. I had a very powerful spiritual awakening, and I did very, hardcore austerities, as I said. So I guess some AI misinterpreted it. Some of the ways Dylan and I differ, like, I used to listen to some more folk, like, singer-songwriter stuff. Although I will say, here's a perfect example. This is what I wanted to say. So Minefield, the Alien Workshop, like, once he got signed to Workshop, and I feel him, I'm sure some dude on Anti-Hero was just, you can tell a lot of them are alcoholics, and, if he's a pretty boy and he had to prove himself and all this shit and whatever. So he's skating, his lifelong friend Greg, who was clearly a great filmographer, but I think he was just completely surrounded by a lot of jealous, like, monitoring spirit type shit. And so he skate, like, I to this day do my own photography, because it's going to take a very special photographer. Probably my wife is the only person, like, who will eventually be qualified to film me, because I just have to control the filming situation. So he was really good at and I really related when I first heard the dudes on that documentary talking about him, because I thought, that's how I ended up going down the wrong road when I finally rebelled in college. The thing I like about lowlifes, and hey, Jesus hung out with a lot of lowlifes, that's where he'd prefer to hang out, and I don't use the term lowlife to sit here, and I'm not, like, contemplating wanting to trash talk Jason Dill, but trash talk away, because at the end of the day, I finally realized, I would totally be friends with someone like Dill. He's very he has a weird kind of gritty cosmopolitanism. He's got a real, street smart sense of humor. He founded FA. I think fucking awesome is not, I don't really like the name, but they were really close. This was like his brothers, Dill and Ave. And he looked up to Heath so much. And so basically there's the second half of the video, people are all talking about when Dylan had a drug problem. And it particularly, like, Heath Kirchhardt's reaction, I mean, talk about he may as well be wearing diapers. And Heath Kirchhardt is a very good looking guy, or maybe was. I mean, he's got a lot on his side in that effect. He just eviscerates Dylan. Like, he finally, He came up, they had an alien house in LA, and Dylan wasn't doing much. Clearly, like, he had won the year's best am. So you're saying he wasn't doing much, hanging out in Huntington Beach. Like, do you know how hard that is? Secondly, because he's forever a rail kid. But of course, what does Mark Oblo want to do? In the guise of helping the kid and mentoring him, he's like, you know, you got to let go of the rail kid thing. You got to learn to skate bowls. So, of course, he's, like, trying to force him to hang out with Tony 𝔡𝔬𝔠𝔲𝔪, and those dudes. And you can see in those clips his style starts going downhill. Like, dudes, it all worked out, and, you know, to the best of its ability in the steez department. I do like skaters who can skate transition, but forcing him to try to go to all these pro bull rider contests, not bowl, it's a skating term. Skating transition, for those of you who don't know, is basically like skating pools, ramps, and various like parks where it's the pool vibe. It's all carved out. Like if you look at the Venice skate park. And he got passionate and he got into it, and it definitely made a lot of his skating amazing. However, what I think is sad, like if you look at everything that is just impeccable, like impeccable footwork, impeccable board control, the deck being like a magnet to his feet, literally his 2-minute part in the Osiris Subject to Change video, I mean, the kid is better than... He's literally better in that video as a 12-year-old rail kid than any pro I've seen ever since, and probably ever will be. And so, like, what a total asshole who's trying to, like, encourage him not to skate rails. And then when you see the Gravis part, like, obviously it's an incredible part. But so when it comes to Minefield, I like the song choice for that really a lot. And so, you know, he was pushing himself, as Greg describes. You know, the first year of Dylan was like really magical, and like he got year's best am. I mean, the amount he was able to pull off in the early 2000s is pretty unbelievable, because this is still before like iPhones and everything. I mean, to win year's best am in Orange County, and when I lived in Orange County, like it's an in club, dude. Like you have to be, and there's a lot of people like who, you know, maybe they just party too much. There's a lot of judgment. It's the dark side of the skate industry, for sure. So I worked at the Orange County Museum of Art, had a video art gallery in South Coast Plaza. And so when I originally got the job when I lived in Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, then I went back to LA, worked there. You know, that was when I started to try to get my act together, and then they rehired me again after I moved down to San Diego. But basically, so that part and that's why there's such an Orange County vibes, like the whole thing. If you even look at the room where Mark Oblo is being interviewed, I can totally feel the energy of it. It was like a photographer's warehouse in Costa Mesa type vibe, like you can just tell. And but anyways, when I listened to Heath, and he literally is talking about getting Dylan up, and he's minimizing everything. Let's get him in the house. You know, first of all, he's blindsided getting up there, that he has to live in the fucking living room. And I wouldn't even say, like, he proceeds to talk so much shit. Like, he comes across as such an arrogant, ungrateful fucking bastard. Like, and he's one of my favorite skaters too, dude. Like, hello. And he was just like, he got really annoyed that dude, it's skateboarding. So and Greg is like, well, the second year of Dylan, like, you know, he was just partying or being a kid or whatever. But I think he'd be the first to say that, like, he's not where he should be. And it's like, the reality is, being a fucking 18-year-old, like, supermodel who's being bullied and pushed around and just trying to hang in the scene and hang on to his steez and do a year like that where he's, you know, he had the Trans World part, all of it. So Minefield, Dylan's part in Minefield is amazing. And I'm sorry, like, I just don't see it. Everybody has a problem that he was on pills. And then I thought, of course, you know, let's put it this way. He's hanging out with Dill. Who the fuck gave him the drugs? And I'm sure it's not just pills. It's Jason Dill. Jason Dill is to this day an active drug addict. And, you know, it's great. It's all fun and games and, you know, walking with Jesus and hanging out with Jason Dill lowlifes. I mean, Abe, it's, you know, he has a whole hardcore history with meth and everything. And to hear 𝔡𝔬𝔠𝔲𝔢𝔢, like, who was just blessed by God in the most amazing way. The dude has the stamina. He has the ultimate perfect health. If you look at one of those slams where he does in that, some really horribly depressing Morrissey song that he does, and he, like, the slam literally, like, fractured his neck, his skull. Just, it was a very irresponsible trick to even attempt off, like, this very high, like, third-ish floor of an apartment complex, and he just slams right there. That proves that God is everything. If you watch that slam in slow motion, he should be in hell from that. I mean, he definitely not continue living. I mean, it's like, this is 𝔡𝔬𝔠𝔲𝔢𝔢 literally snapped his neck in half and smashed his face into the concrete with the centrifugal force going, like, you know, 60 miles an hour. People don't realize how hard skating is and how dangerous it is, which is another reason why, you know, like, a lot of these new kids, there's a lot of AI, but they're also, something's weird going on because it's not, anyway, it's like ballet on concrete. And so to listen to Heath literally talk shit, so, like, so he develops a bit of a drug problem. He's not, you know, sorry that he's not literally Jesus Christ himself. You know what I mean? For fuck's sake, like, what do you want? Like, he's so clearly from day one just this fucking like, incredible fucking young skate, like, unbelievable. Heath doesn't deserve to even, like, try to sniff of his tracks. It just, but I still like to listen to it. It's a great, you know, whatever. He was getting pissed off. You're pissed off that a dude that's barely 20 years old kind of started going down the wrong road and developed a problem in skateboarding. I mean, it's just like the music industry. Skateboarding is, you almost can't even get into the industry without doing drugs at some point. Not only that, like, and I relate to this too. I mean, it's so offensive and disgusting to just talk trash and scapegoat him for developing an issue just because he walked out of his own premiere. And I'm like, you don't walk out of a fucking premiere. I'm like, dude, it's like, you sound like a fucking abusive Jewish parent who literally the Lord himself could be your child and you'd be making comments about how chapped his lips are. I mean, who knows why the hell he had to leave the premiere, number one. Number two, like, he would sleep till 2 or 3 in the morning in the living room, and then I'd have to walk over him and there's, like, all these clothes. It's like, yeah, it's pretty crazy when you don't have a closet. You know, you tend to have to put your clothes somewhere. Like, what, you know? And I'm thinking, what he should be saying, or at least thinking to himself, is be careful about how you talk about a kid like Dylan, who's not just a talent. He's superhuman genius because he has that humility about him. That's what they're jealous of. He's low-key and chill, man, and he's gnarly as fuck. As Abe said in the end of that video, he's, like, fucking gnarly. But, you know, what happens is, it's just, if people understood that when they feel extreme jealousy to the point of where they can't take it and they have to take someone down because they feel so less than and that, like, they can't ever measure up to them, the person speaking right now, me, myself, I have gone through that for many years of my life, but I don't fucking go behind someone's back and try to completely discourage their health. Like, even malicious gossip, that can curse someone. So fuck the curses, fuck the bullshit. Like, we all know that people like Dylan and Kurt, and I needed to address it. And then he's like, he'd be up till 1 a.m, like, playing guitar, like, not even just learning guitar, like, not even playing guitar, just learning guitar. And I'm thinking, dude, is 𝔡𝔬𝔠𝔲𝔢𝔢 retarded? Like, you're criticizing a fucking 20-year-old pro skateboard prodigy who's fucking sleeping on the floor in the fucking living room because he doesn't have another place to stay, and you're criticizing him for learning how to play guitar. Like, didn't you learn how to skateboard? You know what I mean? Like, hello, do you know how many years of my life, decades, I've spent, quote unquote, learning the guitar? I mean, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, God forbid an aspiring musician and genius artist is like just minding his own business. It's like, oh, I was gonna be offended by that, but then I just continued existing. Like, what the fuck, man? I just, again, lost respect. He's a good skater, but again, those types of people, they don't know, I mean, where they're going, they're going to find out what a big deal it is. I mean, that's the type of shit. Talk about pissing off God. And I just, and he did it like as I've done. A lot of the grueling work, a lot of people still have drug problems and pretend that they're in sobriety and all this shit. He cleaned up his act really, really fast. But basically, they couldn't wait to get the kid hooked on the street life, hooked on a bunch of pills, and he turned his act around so quickly when they sabotaged his career by giving him, why did he start smoking, getting hand tattoos? Like, I'm not saying that those things are things that only drug addicts do, but, I've paid my dues. Like, actually, Orange County is the place where I originally went to take care of my own issues, but it's like chronic pain as well when it comes to skating. Like, these guys are doing gnarly tricks, and it's a level of athleticism that makes the NFL look like a Care Bear commercial. I mean, really, that's how hardcore skating is. People just do not get it. So as someone who knows myself the level of how debilitating chronic pain can be, I guarantee you that every pro skateboarder still alive after 40 is going to need a high-level doctor because of just what it does to your body. So I stopped skating younger than that. But yeah, and so basically this is just a shout-out to Rail Kid, Rail Kid crew. I was always a rail skater, but not on the level of Dylan. I'd really loved, like, in the air, in my dreams, I would love to just skate rails like that. And in my ideal dream world, I wouldn't need wheels and trucks because I could just, fly. But that's another thing. It's frustrating. I wish there was more rail skating footage of Dylan. And Minefield is a great part. And Dill's analysis of it is true, that he basically, like, in the video, he progresses from, like, the Vans OC skate kid to, like, really developing his own style with his jeans and those shoes. And, they're iconic. His whole style is iconic, and I miss him. Like, I fucking miss this guy. You don't even understand. That's part of why I started lingerie. But yeah, this is, instead of skating all day, I still design, all these decks, but I was trying to think if there was something else I wanted to say. So, he went and made the other part, that everybody is like, oh, his later parts are so much better, but Minefield is a great part, and I really, really, I wish that I could have some video of Dylan skating rails. There's a couple of great rail, everybody knows. I'm not going to name the video. It's just weird that, like, people are praising him, and that's a way of, like, it's just like, whatever. This video is some cosmic gaslighting right back at you, and I don't know, dude. I think it's a good thing. Like, I've just found that I give way too many people the benefit of the doubt. But on the other hand, people could learn a lot from someone like Jason Dill. Like, in a way, just Buddha says, don't be a dick, but he's he's a real, whatever. His skating, I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's not steezy. He's not a very stylish at all. But he's edgy, he's funny. He makes the famous downriver joke. All about upriver and downriver. He's like, and he makes those grammatical mistakes where he's like, Dylan was like me and Abe, hand tattoos, smoking cigarettes. And I'm like, he's on camera encouraging it. And it's great if that's what he wants, but it was unbelievably hard for me to quit my nicotine addiction, which is crazy. I had someone that I was working with, and they suggested that I try nicotine patches for ADHD as an adult, and I was like, or nicotine gum, and I remember that was the first moment I was like, nobody would say that to someone like me who's, because that's one of the reasons I love skating, but the cost that comes with it, just like the gritty music culture, like it was brutal for me to quit smoking. And, I don't take advice from people who, of any age really, who are constantly sucking on a vape. I don't judge Dylan for it at all, but I just, I relate to it, but I don't think that he smoked enough that it turned into cancer automatically, just somehow magically, I mean, people get whatever. What I'm saying is, it took me a very long time, at least a year or two, and once I was initiated as a monk, because I was initiated by a spiritual teacher who was a spiritual master. It's not just me self-appointing myself, describing myself that way. Big difference. One of the rules was that you couldn't come to the meditation center if you were still smoking cigarettes, because you can't be learning how to live while you're killing yourself at the same time. Interesting how that ends up kind of whatever. But the way I quit was, it's gnarly. It was, and stopping anything destructive is gnarly. But the thing also, like in Kurt's case, for instance, well, I'm not going to get into too much more of that stuff. I just think the criticism of Dylan, and then he just got his act together, whatever they wanted in 6 days, and it's just whatever. As someone who's been pathologized and scapegoated, and I've had a lot of people run a lot of bullshit and spread a lot of rumors about me that are completely untrue. I had my partying days. I had severe starting at a young age, but I have a rule that I don't talk about my health problems, so I'm not going to do that online. That's like my line that I'm drawing in the sand. People don't, there's people, when you take someone like Dylan or someone like me, that people aren't, who are literally creating standards of excellence and redefining them, it takes a special kind of stupid to just automatically believe. It's like, consider the source. It's almost like a lot of the times I think people, when they say things to me, like, I don't think anyone would ever say to me in person, hey, why don't you try nicotine gum? I mean, it's basically like saying, hey, you got enough problems going on right now. You haven't had a drink in 20 years. Why don't you start chewing nicotine gum for that? It's like, it's exactly what Dill did. And that's, you got to be lethal. I'm talking about cutthroat. You cut that motherfucker off with mid-sentence. It's like, don't let the door hit your ass on the way down. She rains down. It's a Cold Cave song. But what I'm trying to say is, that is really fucked. And those are the subtle ways that people will, people are poison, like I said, that Cold Cave song. But they can also make your life. You meet one right person. And I've just struggled with that a lot. So I relate to Dylan because, I've had a lot of friends in my life, but a lot of them were the people, including people who have spread lies and rumors about me. The person who gave me my first cigarette. I'm have a lot of whatever. The Male Tears, MALETEARS. It's a fun dark wave band, you know, but dude, I calling a record Trauma Club, that's not funny to me. So I'm now officially a mortal boy, and not a mortal boy, a mortal boy. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. There's you know, that's another thing. Years and years, when I first started, I had this guitar teacher. He would give me the most impossible exercises and record these like 90-minute sessions, and then for me to follow along and play back. And it was like, you know, same thing. It's anyone who's telling Dylan to stop skating rails is basically what he did is he saw that this kid's, that is what he was born to do. He's a rail kid. And rail skating is so delicate and unbelievable and powerful and stylish, and it's just fucking divine. Backside Smith grind to this day, my favorite trick. You know, Dylan's too. I happen to know if you watch that SLS footage of him, and it's just like when I meet people, like I try to be inspired by them in whatever way that I can. And if you think that it was just so easy, that, you know, that's the joke in my song Heartthrob. I woke up like this. Yeah, I wake up like this, but you don't know what the hell I have been through. And I have had spiritual teachers who were supermodels, and I'm meaning like maybe I read a book, maybe I met them in passing, maybe I sat next to one on Club World flight back from Europe, and it's being a supermodel as an athlete as well. So it's just, you know what? And if you really want, like, if he really wanted to, Dill could clean up his act, and instead of like passive aggressively like fucking with this kid's career, stabbing him in the back, like you could actually like he could still fucking be here today, man. Like imagine that. So yeah, I'm glad I got it off my chest to not speak about, or to just say a little bit about the scapegoating, because that's what happened with Dylan too, you know. And people who do that, like those comments, you know, and Heath Kirchart in the video, he's just like, not to be confused with Cool Keith, aka Dr. Octagon. Yes, I do know some Dr. Octagon, really some gnarly, you know, because I was studying pre-med, that some of his records about medical, dark, like underground rapping, oh my god, it's gnarly. Dr. Octagon, man. I'm the doctor. You wait on the waiting list. Patient's been here since this morning. I dismiss. That's about how tired I am right now, but yeah, I fucking I can't listen one more time to Heath Kirchart talking trash about an absolute icon that he was lucky to know, you know. I mean, Dylan was barely 20 years old, you know, and that's just the type of bullshit we don't need in skating anymore. And honestly, I think if he hadn't moved to FA, and if he had been able to like let go of his so-called brothers, you know, that's the final thing I will say is that, or probably a few more things, is that I went through a time, it's really hard to let go of people. I have a ruthless cutoff game, but anyway, I'm tired of it being hard. There's a reason it's not easy to get to me. And anyone tries to mess with me, it's like they truly don't want to know. Thank God for what you don't know. You do not want to know, because and that is true. I'm no longer using the term chosen one. Starseed is more appropriate, but like Dylan's a perfect example. Everything he did and his whole vibe, same thing I do. It's a starseed energy, but we're not sitting here talking about starseeds all day long with a bunch of like, you know, drapery from Nepal all over the wall. And I mean, yes, I burn incense, but you get my point. It's like new wave bullshit. New Age. That was probably an intentional, that was accidente. Again, Andrew Eldridge, that's a whole nother story. And then there's me. All I have to say is Ferrari lover. So yeah, needed to say that. And you know, I think part of what I'm thinking about right now is I think his birthday was like in May. So yeah. Yeah, the lingerie decks, you can DM me if you're interested. They are a special limited edition. And again, I'll just close it with this. Some Ember. So if you guys know that song by the Pet Shop Boys, Love Comes Quickly, such a great song. So this dude, Some Ember, he covered that song, which is really, it's freaking cool. And the reason I go to that is just, you know, that's same reason why I left the Darkwave band. It was a 3-piece band that I was in. It was because the drugs were just everywhere, unfortunately. And so that's why I am the band now. As I said, it's not just me, but yeah. If you don't have anything nice to say about me or about Dylan Rieder or anyone else I care about, then just